All right, you all, my goodness. We're going to talk about wonderful Cub Year One, week one. Here we are at day two. One thing about day two that's really important to keep in mind is that it is very tech heavy and can be overwhelming to both you, the facilitator, and to the students. So my deepest, most sincerest recommendation is to practice this and practice it more than once. So first thing the students are going to do, greet them, say hello, tell them to get their planners out, go and sit with their 6 o'clock partner. We want to set them up early for this because they're going to work with their 6 o'clock partner throughout the class. That's going to be their go-to person. And then you're going to tell them the same thing that they did last time. You're going to go to day two. You're going to reflect on the quote and what it has to do with our grad value being open to growth. Again, there might be some silence, some time for them to reflect and think. You'll take attendance. It's okay if it goes slowly. Then we'll pray. We'll get into the agenda. A couple things I want you to keep in mind. This homework check really is only for students that have their MacBook, their school MacBook computer. As I said in the last video, if your student does not have a school MacBook, they can't do the MDM assignment until they get it. So it's going to be a placeholder of a 0, and that's okay. You're going to tell them ahead of time, you're going to get a 0 until you're able to do the assignment appropriately. And we need them to do this assignment because we need all of our students enrolled in the mobile device management system. All right. And unfortunately, not all of our students have their laptops, which is why you're going to find that from time to time, you're going to get a kid who's very, very diligent, who does everything that he's supposed to do. However, he just doesn't have a school laptop and is unable to complete that assignment. So I want to quickly get into it. Remind them of a couple of the digital protocols that every time they come into a classroom, right? Remind them of that bell ringer, remind them of these grad values. Today we're going to be open to growth. I want you to be open-minded. Many of you are great with technology, but today I want you to be open-minded around how does Loyola use technology? Because that might not be the same as how your old school did it or how you do it in your personal life. And we really want to remind them like, hey, check your battery right now. Is your MacBook at 100% or somewhere around 75 to 100%? If it's not, maybe a good example of, hey, you should have a charging station at home. If you have, we really highly recommend that you don't have your iMessage on your computer. A lot of the times we find students that are sort of multitasking and it distracts them from actually doing their actual assignment. So tell them, hey, turn off your notifications or pause them. Some teachers will take your computer away or take your ability to do something in a lesson if you can't focus. So just to give them that reminder. And then finally, most importantly, really briefly go through the 45-90-degree protocol. A lot of classrooms use this. It's when I'm talking and I need the students to focus and not look at their computer screens, I tell them to put their laptop lids 45 degrees and then 90 degrees. 90 degrees means we're actively working on something, using technology, and 45 or lids down completely means that we're not using tech. So give them opportunity and practice. Say, okay, 45, 90, closed, give them an opportunity to make it fun, light, but also tell them this is what's expected of you. Homework check. This is what I mean by you can decide if you would like to do this in class or not. I find it's helpful to do it because then you can like cross-reference their screenshots with what you understand. But quite frankly, this might take away from your ability to be as productive and effective. So if this homework check doesn't work for you and it's confusing to you, they have to take a screenshot of their self-service anyways and submit that as evidence of them doing their MDM assignment. So here we are, don't necessarily need to do this homework check. So you could delete the slide and go straight into dyads. When we get into dyads, this is really important. You should have Skittles and put them on their desks. Students are going to ask you, can we have them? Can we eat them? Can we do that? Yes, but wait till I get to when you can, right? So just remind students that yes, you're going to be able to eat the Skittles. And if you don't like Skittles, you can gift them to your friend, but you need the Skittles for the activity. Go through red Skittles mean embarrassing, memorable moments. You can read, right? Go through what they mean. Tell the students that you might have multiple red Skittles. So you're going to talk about multiple embarrassing or memorable moments with your partner. You should be taking turns. For the favorites, it could also be things that are your least favorite, right? We have things that we really like and things that we really dislike. So give this time, give the students opportunity to really engage in this dyad, eat some Skittles, get to know their partner. And I always think it's a good idea to debrief a little bit, right? Like, Hey, how's that? What did you learn about your partner that you weren't expecting? What was surprising? Give this dyad space because this is the most community-like activity in this particular lesson plan. And we want them to get to know each other so they're comfortable enough when they have tech issues to maybe go to their 6 o'clock partner and feel like, okay, we have a little bit of more of a rapport and relationship. And then be honest. When you get to this slide, say, here, listen, a lot of you are great with technology, especially because you've gone to school through a pandemic, but technology is always different depending on where you are and who you are with. And at Loyola, we have a very specific way of doing technology. And today is our tech seminar. And tell them up front, this is going to be a lot of information at once. Some of you, it's going to be like easy. And if that's you, I'm going to ask you, please help me. Help me with those students that maybe don't understand what's going on. And for some of you, you're going to be like, wow, she's going really fast, or he's going really fast. And that's okay too. It's a lot. It's going to feel like a little bit of a drinking out of a water hose. And if they don't know that analogy, have them think about it for a little bit. Like, oh yeah, it's coming at you really quickly, right? So we're moving through. First thing we're going to say is, hey, we use Apple technology, but we are a Google school, a Google Workspace for Education school. So what does that mean? We use Chrome, and most all of our applications, our learning management system works best on Chrome. Yes, we understand that Apple likes to default to Safari. Tell the students, use Safari, use Firefox for your personal stuff. When it comes to school stuff, you should be using Chrome. Anytime I have issues with students in class, it is because they're using Safari or Firefox. And we want to remind them, this is going to help you and help your teacher not have to deal with sort of like unnecessary tech issues. Once we get that, we're going to talk about this thing called the waffle. And all of our, when we're using Chrome, if we open up a new tab, it's going to be harder on a split screen, as you see here that I'm doing right now. But if I go to anything like Google, type in the search bar, I'm going to find my little waffle. Or grid, or there's lots of names for it, Rubik's Cube, and it's right next to where my avatar would be. They might not have an avatar yet, which is totally fine. And when we click on it, you're going to see that there's all sorts of different features. This is a really important tool that we use. We need students to be aware of the waffle. If I actually engage in a full screen type of situation, the waffle often is also somewhere on the left side of the toolbar. Mine's not showing up right now. C'est la vie, right? So tell them the waffle is going to be really important to us and how we, basically all the apps that we use for class. And instead of telling them what it is, you could also ask them, well, what do you call this, right? What's this? And again, this is just for them to learn to be on point. This part should go by pretty quickly. We're just introing stuff. And then we're going to tell them something that's really important. I want you to go to the waffle on your Google. I want you to notice, are you signed into an account? If you're signed into an account that's not Loyola, let's go ahead and log off. So if I were to, and this is actually where if I was teaching this lesson, I would split screen this a little bit. And I would have the directions here because it's helpful. It teaches you how to log out with a GIF, excuse me. Mine's, of course, my computer's a little slow right now. But essentially I would, once it loads, so I would go here. This is my personal email. I'd click on it. I would log out of my personal email, following the instructions, and make sure that I'm logged into my Loyola email. Students might ask, well, I can't get into my Loyola email. You're like, I gave you that beautiful password, and that's for you to figure out, right? Like you were supposed to bring that. That was part of your preparedness, right? If you have a kid that doesn't have it, my advice would be to send them to the tech office to see if they can get a new one with Bren. Bren is teaching summer session, so he may or may not luck out. So once we do that, like, great, beautiful. Now we can get into what we're doing today. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to start with your Loyola Gmail. And we're going to actually go through a very specific process. I want you to type in, and this is why I would split screen when you're teaching this. I want us to go to loyolahs.edu, right? That is our Loyola's website. And once you get there, let's go ahead and do thumbs up, right? And again, because I'm zooming, it's a little glitchy right now. This is something you should see, right? Everybody with me? All right, we're gonna click on menu and then we're gonna click on students. This is our student dashboard. And I'm gonna ask us to go ahead and bookmark that. So go ahead and bookmark it. Does anyone know how to bookmark something? And obviously it shows up down here. So you can be like, it's in the image. And so here again, this is where usually where you'll find the Rubik's Cube. You're like, hey, where is this, right? They can either click on the star, or if they scroll up to the top, they can go to bookmarks, bookmark this tab. We want them to bookmark the student dashboard and tell them this is like your one-stop shop. Whenever you click on Loyola's, this little LHS, and you can rename it, it's going to allow you to go to Loyola's thing every single time, and anything that you need from College Kickstart, which you really don't need until junior year, to our student handbook, which you need to sign before the beginning of the school year. It's all here for you. So I want you to bookmark that. Go ahead and check with your 6 o'clock partner. Do you have it bookmarked, right? That's why we have partners, to kind of keep them in check. Once we do that, let's go ahead and click on Google Workspace for Education. They click on it. They might go to a login page, so I'm gonna log in, and then we're gonna click on Google Workspace for Education again. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna bookmark our Gmail, and we're gonna rename it Gmail, so that instead of having to go to the dashboard every time, I can also just click on my Gmail and boom, bam, thank you, ma'am, I'm here. So ask them to put their thumbs up when they've done that. Then we're gonna, okay, go back to your bookmark of the dashboard, which is what I'm doing right now. Yamero. And oh, see my one logins right there. I'm gonna go ahead and look for Power School. Power School, obviously this is faculty, so I'm gonna go back to my student one. Power School student, we're gonna click on it. We're gonna bookmark it. And in fact, I'd say, hey, just to be clear, let's see if you can log into it. It should be your username, not your email, and your password. Do it again. Okay, one more time, go back to Loyola. Because they have this bookmark, this should be really quick. Student dashboard, mine's not bookmarked because I use faculty. Click on Canvas, bookmark that bad boy, right? Here we are. So we've done the thing, right? We've bookmarked all these different places. And then we're gonna say, okay, let's go ahead and put our laptop lids 45 degrees. And what do you think an LMS is? What does that stand for? Learning Management System. Great, awesome, congratulations, we get things, right? And then because our laptop is 45 degrees, we're gonna talk about some vocabulary, right? So this is where you get to show them something before they access theirs. So you're gonna say, hey, here's what we call our dashboard. It's where all your courses for summer session and then eventually for your Loyola classes will always be here. Tell them that this is sort of their one-stop shop for all things Loyola when it comes to their academic courses. So these little things are called course cards. When I click on a course card, and let's just go ahead and click on the CY1 course card, the first page that pops up, does anyone know what this is called? You got it. It's a home page. It's a landing page. And what's beautiful about this is that our landing pages for Cub Year 1 are based off of our days. So today you can see we're at Thursday, June 22nd. We're in day 2, open and growth. You can see that we tell you, you need your planner, your MacBook, you need your utensils, and you need a mobile phone today. We talked about that, right? And you're going to notice your homework. You need to bring, for Tuesday's class, you need to bring a cell phone. We need to download on that cell phone Canvas and Genius Scan. And if you forgot your phone today, you got to make sure that you set up your Canvas notifications because you're going to miss that part of this lesson. So we're showing them, right, that this is really important. The other thing that they're going to see is something called announcements. When they click on announcements, this is where we push information to you. If you set up your notifications correctly today, this should push to your email. And announcements are really helpful to also have on your phone because sometimes your teacher will tell you, hey, quiz is canceled, and they'll tell you via announcements. And if you have Canvas on your phone, you'll know immediately versus finding out the next morning after you spent 6 hours studying, right? So it's good for you to know too. So once that happens, we're going to say, okay, laptop lids 90 degrees, practice that protocol. Go ahead, we're on Canvas. Go ahead and click on that course card. So we're going to click on CY1 course card, and we're going to go to set up a profile picture. So we're here. We're going to go, excuse me a second, to where it says account. Right? We have all this beautiful information. We got notifications. File settings, we're going to click settings. And then, oh, excuse me, I'm doing the wrong thing right now. We're going to go to, this is why you practice clearly. So you go to Loyola, and then here in CY1, settings. Oh my gosh, why am I so, oh, I'm sorry. I'm doing all the wrong things today. Oh, sorry. This is why we practice. Okay, so today, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna set up a profile picture. We're gonna set up your notification preferences, and we're gonna make sure that your cell phone receives notifications. If you don't have a cell phone, it's all good. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the dashboard. We're gonna click on this beautiful picture of ourselves, and you might not have anything. You might just have initials. You're gonna click on settings. From settings, you're gonna go ahead and go to this little pencil. And remember, I told you to have a picture on your cell phone. Either email it to yourself, airdrop it, whatever works for your cell phone. We're gonna put that picture here. An appropriate selfie, if you will, needs to be of your face. It could be a Bitmoji like Mrs. Kawamata's. It could also be just a picture, but if it's a random person like PewDiePie, like no, it needs to be you, your likeness, or something of that effect. So you go ahead, upload, you can take a picture, so you can take a selfie right now. We're gonna do that, ready, set, go. Give them a couple minutes. 6 o'clock partners, let's check. Once we do that, we're gonna set up our notifications. So you'll see above settings is this thing called notifications. Once we get to notifications, I'm gonna click on it, it's gonna load. And we want to make sure that push notifications basically just say anytime that a teacher has a due date, a new due date, it sets. I personally don't think it's helpful for students to have this for new due dates, but I will say anytime that there's course content that's published, you could do that. Announcements should definitely be both email and a push notification. Anytime there's an invitation, email, push notification. I think grading is helpful to have as either an email or push notification, depending on the student. And then also messages, appointments, yeah, all those things are more push notification worthy. But quite frankly, we really want our students to turn on email for due date, for grading policy, and for announcements and grading. That is so amazingly important. Also, it could be helpful to do like any late grading or submission comments. If students want to know what teachers are saying and they don't go immediately to the assignment, it could go to their email or it could go to their phones, depending. So I think that's helpful. Don't want too many notifications, but minimally announcements, announcements, announcements. Then this is going to be the tricky part. We want to go ahead and go and do some cell phone notifications. So again, we're going to click on our picture. We're going to click on settings. We're going to go to ways to contact. Where am I at? There you go. It's on the, that's why, because it's open. Ooh, there it is. Almost. Okay. There are ways to contact. Good. Then we're going to go to register our SMS. You can see that I already have some stuff ready to go, but I'm going to go plus contact method, SMS. You can invent a cell phone number, right? So you don't have the students know what your thing is. So, right. So they do that, select their carrier, whatever it is. They don't need to mess with SMS email. They're going to register it. Once it registers it, they're going to get a verification code on their phone. They're going to double verify who they are, and then they're set up basically for their cell phones as well as their email to be ready for push notifications. That should take 15 minutes max, but you never know with our students, right? So you're going to go ahead and say, great, everybody's set up. We got profile picture. We have our notifications and our push notifications running on our cell phones. Lovely, excellent, beautiful, or fabulous. Go ahead and put your laptop lids 45 degrees for me. We're just going to talk really briefly about there are 4 types of submissions on Canvas. There's a no submission. That means that the assignment is due on something else. So I sign a lot of Quizlet. So when I do a no submission with Quizlet, that means that they do it on Quizlet. I go to Quizlet to grade it, and I put the grade in PowerSchool. So they're not going to see anything on Canvas, but they are going to see that they're graded for that assignment. If it's an on paper assignment, well, it's face-to-face, and I turn it in on paper, I may or may not put the grade on Canvas, but I definitely, as a teacher, will put the grade on PowerSchool. The two places where often the grades are populated on Canvas and then move to PowerSchool are online submissions, which are usually file uploads, or when we use an LTI, a learning tools interoperability integration, which essentially means that I take a technology like Flipgrid, which is a video platform, and I embed it inside of Canvas so that you don't have to go to Flipgrid to turn something in. In fact, you just go to Canvas, Flipgrid's already in there, you do your video, you press submit on Canvas, and then it submits as if it was part of Canvas in the first place. So those are the two ways that you're going to see a lot of grades pop up on Canvas. And today, we're actually going to work on an online submission of file upload. So we still have our laptop lids 45 degrees or closed at this point. We're going to talk about 6-word memoir. And what is a memoir? Hopefully, you guys students be like, oh, Glass Castle, we're reading that right now, right? That's a memoir. A memoir is usually a story about oneself. It's not a biography most of the time. Usually not one's whole life, but a significant experience of one's life. Ernest Hemingway, very famous author, you can ask them, well, you know, what did he write? Blah, 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 blah. He was challenged, hypothetically, we don't know if this is actually true or not, to come up with a story in just 6 words. And this is what he wrote. Maybe have somebody read it. For sale, baby shoes never worn. What do you think the story is here? And we want students to recognize that maybe there was a death in his family, like miscarriage, or potentially some sort of disease, or maybe there's a crazy scenario where there's a village where there are no children, but someone has baby shoes and couldn't find anybody to give those baby shoes to, right? There's lots of different narratives that you can come up with out of these 6 words, but this is very poignant, it's very emotional. So we want students to do the same thing. We're going to ask them to brainstorm or write their understanding of the COVID-19 pandemic in 6 words. And to do this, we often say start with all the words, right? Who did you see or did not see? What did you hear or did not hear? When? What was going on? Where? What are significant events? How are you feeling? I want you to create a story, and you can use as many words as possible. But then when we get out of the writing phase, let's go ahead and pare down. Can we pare down to 6 important content words? And if kids are like, what are content words? Well, not like the and a or at, which are more function words. We're looking for things that are a little bit more substantive, like adjectives and verbs. And it doesn't have to be a sentence that makes complete sense, right? It could also be something that is poetic, right? We want to understand what they're trying to say. Give them 5 minutes, maybe play the video, give them some relaxation music. If you have more time, great, use it. If not, say, okay, this is your exit ticket. It's a rough draft, so you can fix it as extra homework at home. Submit your 6 words in the text box. It's a text entry or a file upload, and you're gonna click submit. And that is one of your first assignments for CY1. Once they've done that, remind them of their homework, download Genius Scan and the Canvas app, and bring their cell phone to class, right? Tell them that exit ticket is the way that we leave things here at Loyola. And once they've done that, congratulate them. You got through the biggest part of the tech seminar. The rest of it's going to be a lot easier from here. And that's that. If you have kids that are confused, office hours. And I wish you luck with this tech seminar. It's going to take a little bit of elbow grease, but you got it.